What's up, nerds? All right, folks, buckle up and grab your popcorn because today we're diving into the 10 worst movies of 2024, in my opinion. Now, if you thought the year was going to be packed with cinematic masterpieces, well, think again. From misguided reboots to cringeworthy CGI, these movies didn't just miss the mark, they fired in the opposite direction. Now, trust me, we're about to get into some seriously painful flicks, in my opinion. So whether you're here to laugh at the mess or just want to know what to avoid at all costs, get ready because this list is going to hurt. So let's dive into the movies that I think went wrong in 2024. But before I get started, I want to say also that I didn't get a chance to see every single movie, and I know that there are some bad ones, but if they didn't make this list, it's because I didn't see it. So that's just how it is. Like, for instance, Borderlands. I didn't see it, so it didn't make this list. Sorry if that hurts you, but, such as life. All right, so the worst movie, number 10, coming to number 10, is Tarot. What a colossal flop, you guys. I mean, this movie took the mystique of tarot cards and turned it into a predictable, cliche-ridden mess. I mean, the plot, as flimsy as the dollar store cards they probably used. I mean, the acting was so wooden, I thought I was watching a game of Jenga instead of a movie. And the special effects, I mean, more like special defects. Every jump scare was, telegraphed from a mile away, and the supposed twists were about as surprising as finding out the sun rises in the east. If you're thinking about watching this for some spooky fun, save your time. Unless you're into watching paint dry, then by all means have at it. I don't think this will be your jam, but whatever. All right, so coming in at number 9 is The Fall Guy. Yeah, that's right. This movie honestly feels like it's trying to be a fun throwback to those 80s action flicks, but it ends up more like a half-baked nostalgia grab with too much focus on spectacle and not enough substance. I mean, first off, the plot feels disjointed, almost like they're trying to cram every possible trope into one movie. I mean, you've got the washed up stuntman, the glamorous lead, the big bad corporation and everything. And it's like they checked all the boxes without thinking about how to tie it all together. I mean, the action scenes, sure, they're flashy, but they lack the punch you need to make you feel the stakes, And let's talk about the performances. I mean, Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt are great, but even they can't save the script. That's just, flat. It's a movie that looks like it wants to be fun, but ends up being a bit too empty and self-aware for its own good. It's like the movie knows it's trying to cash in on your love for retro action movies, but doesn't really earn it. I mean, in the end, it's a lot of style with little heart. And honestly, that's the worst kind of disappointment. Vibes all the way. I mean, it's a movie that tries too hard and it doesn't deliver enough. All right, so coming in at number 8 is Uglies. Yeah, that's right, man. This movie missed the mark so badly. I mean, it's like they were aiming for a different galaxy, like altogether. First off, the casting. Every ugly is a supermodel in disguise, which completely undermines the whole premise of the story. It's like, oh, we're all ugly until we turn 16, but then we've got Joey King with her perfect selfie face. I mean, the CGI, don't even get me started. It's so bad. It looks like they used an old version of Photoshop for a pretty transformation. And the plot, it's so predictable. It's like reading the back of a cereal box for the 100th time. For all you youngsters, you don't know what that's like. I mean, the pacing is all over the place. And the characters have less depth than a kiddie pool. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, if you're a fan of the book, which I've never read, you'll probably want to burn this adaptation with the same fire used to burn the CGI set pieces. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this movie is a stark reminder of why some books should just stay books. All right, so coming in at number 7 is Night Swim. Ooh, all right, so let's dive into Night Swim, okay? Let me tell you, this film is a total belly flop. I mean, the concept of a haunted pool had potential for some cool, unique horror, but it feels like they just threw in every tired horror trope they could find. I mean, the jump scares, predictable, and about as effective as a screen door on a submarine. And the characters are so flat, you could use them as a diving board. I mean, the plot, it's like someone wrote the story on a cocktail napkin and then just lost the will to expand on it, which we've all been there before. I mean, there's no depth here at all. No pun intended. Just a shallow pool of missed opportunities. And if you're looking for a good scare or even just a decent story, you might want to skip this swim. All right, you guys. So coming in at number 6 is Blink Twice. Now, Blink Twice is a prime example of style over substance, pandering to a TikTok brain audience with the chaotic barrage of visuals and surface level commentary masquerading as depth. I mean, this movie just sucks. I mean, the film tries to pass off its scattershot storytelling and disjointed narrative as an avant-garde, but it's clear it was designed for Gen Z viewers with the attention span of a goldfish. I mean, these themes, which are supposedly thought-provoking, feel like buzzword soup. It's a mishmash of ideas that lack any real coherence or emotional weight. I mean, Blink Twice is not clever, it's not innovative, and it's definitely not profound. It's a shallow product that mistakes confusion for complexity. For anyone with even a shred of media literacy, this movie is a cringeworthy slog. And I don't think that Zoe Kravitz should direct again. She's not very good at it. All right, you guys, coming in at number 5, which will make some of you angry, is Conclave. Now, I did a review for this, and you can check it out, and I'll leave it in the iCard section. But let me just tell you right now, this movie was a major letdown. And let's be real, it's not just disappointing, it's deeply offensive. I mean, the pacing drags like a snail on sedatives, and the characters are as flat as a deflated beach ball. I mean, Ray Fiennes does his best, but he's swimming in a sea of shallow writing. But the real kick in the teeth is that twist ending, which feels like a slap in the face to anyone with a shred of respect for tradition. It's like the filmmakers decided to use the plot to push some wild liberal agenda, turning the sacred into absurd. They're trying to mold the church into something it's fundamentally not, and it's just disrespectful. If you're looking for a thought-provoking exploration of religion and politics, you'll be wanting more than just a few pretty shots of the Vatican, which they did not film in, by the way. I say skip this one unless you want to see a sacred institution twisted beyond recognition into a caricature of itself. All right, you guys, coming in at number 4 is Gladiator 2. Man, all right. So let's talk about Gladiator 2. And honestly, I wanted to love this movie, but man, was this a letdown. First off, why on earth did they even make this sequel? I mean, the original Gladiator was a masterpiece. I love that original movie. I mean, it's a closed, perfect story that didn't need expanding at all. Yet here we are 24 years later with a movie that feels like it's cashing in on nostalgia rather than adding anything meaningful whatsoever. I mean, the plot is so convoluted. It's trying way too hard to connect back to Maximus without ever capturing the emotional weight of his journey. And like, don't get me started on the pacing. I mean, Kay, 1 minute it's rushing through important beats, and then the next minute we're slogging through endless unnecessary exposition. Like, for instance, I mean, like when they did the big reveal that what's his face is Maximus's and what's her face's son, I'm like, that we all knew, like they're gonna know. No one's gonna know. Yeah, we all know. We all knew it from the very start. Like, nobody was surprised by that shit. I mean, the visuals are stunning, sure, because Ridley Scott, he knows how to make things look epic. But even that can't save this hollow script. I mean, and the new lead, he's a fine actor. I actually do like him a lot. But the character feels like a shadow of Maximus, okay? Trying to fill the shoes that were never meant to be filled. I mean, ultimately, Gladiator 2 is all spectacle, no soul. It's a cinematic equivalent of a cheap knockoff sword. Sure, it's shiny, but utterly dull. All right, you guys. So coming in at number 3 is Civil War. Ugh. First off, the premise sounds cool, right? Civil War and modern day America. But let's be real, this film misses the mark by a mile. I mean, the characters, they're one dimensional at best. I mean, you've got the old mentor, the adrenaline junkie, the naive rookie, the all cookie cutter cliches. The plot, it's like they threw any sense of political or historical context out the window to focus on these bland journalist tropes. Don't even get me started on the action sequences. I mean, because they're so far and few between. They're all over the place. I mean, first off, you have, like that sniper sequence. That was like fine, but like you're just like, okay. And then you got that big battle sequence at the end at the White House at the end. I mean, it's so crazy. The pacing that feels like it was edited by someone who's never watched a war movie before. The only thing Civil War managed to wage was a battle against my patience. This is just a letdown. It's a full-on betrayal to anyone expecting a thoughtful or even remotely coherent take on such a politically gripping subject. And it's really annoying for a foreigner, a British person, to tell me about my country and its politics. Maybe you should check your own house, honey, before you come into mine. You know what I'm saying? All right, you guys. So coming in at number 2 is Madam Web. Oof. Let me tell you, Madam Web is a cinematic disaster, if you can call it that. This movie is like if someone took every bad comic book movie cliche and decided to make a feature-length ad for Pepsi. Dakota Johnson's performance is so checked out. She might as well be sleepwalking through the scenes. I mean, the plot it's a convoluted mess. I mean, with more holes than a spider web, and not in a cool Spider-Man kind of way. I mean, the CGI is laughably bad, making you wonder if they spent an entire budget on product placement. And they try to set up this whole universe, but it's so poorly executed, you're left wishing you had the power of clairvoyancy to see this disaster coming and avoid it altogether. I mean, in this movie, they had Amazon spider people. It was weird. It was just a bad movie. I laughed the whole time in the theater. All right, you nerds. So coming in at number 1, you probably guessed it, is Joker Folly Do. Okay. I mean, wow, what a letdown, right? This sequel to the already controversial first Joker movie is just a chaotic mess. I mean, they tried to mix in some musical numbers, but instead of hitting the high notes, they fall flat on their face. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix does his best, but even his performance can't save this from being a tremendous slog. I mean, the plot, it's like someone threw a bunch of comic book pages into a blender with some Scorsese wannabe vibes and hit puree. It's as if the filmmakers got what made the first film somewhat compelling and replacing it with a bunch of songs that do nothing but remind you how much you wish you were watching something else. I mean, this ain't the sequel we deserve, and it sure as hell ain't the one that we needed. All right, you guys. So that is my top 10 worst movies of 2024. And granted, there probably would have been some other movies on here if I had seen them. For instance, Borderlands. I hear it's really bad. There's a couple more that I just didn't get a chance to see. And I needed to get this list out. But these are the movies that I picked for my top 10 worst list. Yeah, they're just bad. But tell me what you guys thought about my list. What were some movies that were on your worst list? Tell me how much I'm wrong about Conclave. You guys love that nonsense. Tell me what you guys thought about all of this. Leave your own list down below. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. You know, I won't mind if you're new to my channel. Please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on my next video. You guys have a good day. Bye.